This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Hello, today I am building in Chestnut Ridge on the lot Canyon Crossing. It is a 20 by 20 lot and it ends up costing around 38,000 simoleons, and it is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. If you watched last week's video, I said that I would probably have another Copperdale save file build up this week, but I didn't actually finish the interior of it and I didn't want to rush it, so I decided to try and build something small that I can have a video of this week. And while I was looking through some of the worlds, I realized that I haven't built in this part of Chestnut Ridge in a very long time. It's been years since I have, so I was like, this is the perfect size lot. It's a 20 by 20, it's very small, so I can definitely build something and get something out for this week. And I go to spend more time making sure that the ice cream parlor is decorated nicely and the pizza place interior isn't rushed. So that will be, I don't know, sometime soon. I don't know. I'm not going to make a promise that it'll be next week because I really am not sure. But for this build, I was really just putting some walls down, trying to get a shape that I liked in this. I was editing a build with me style video that I started that I kind of didn't end up finishing yet because I forgot about it, and that was before my computer was having issues and I had to get it fixed. But that build had a roof that kind of looked like this on the side of it, so I really liked how those two roofs connect, which is the half gabled roof leading into the main roof. And so that was what I decided on for this build too. And I was able to use some of the Enchanted by Nature stuff mixed with some other more rustic style wood pieces to create kind of like a farmhouse. And I really love how the exterior looks. I think it is very cute. It has a very light color palette. I use like a mint green, I believe, on the upstairs. This did start as a 1-bedroom home, and I didn't think that I could fit two, but I decided to try and squeeze in a second bedroom without the outside of the house looking strange. And I think it ends up being okay because you can see the shape of it here. This is pretty much what the original shape was of the builds. And then while I was doing the floor plan of the inside, I decided to squeeze in another bedroom. So this house has two very small bedrooms, and I think that the addition of the second bedroom doesn't really make the outside look strange, which sometimes I'm worried about when I already have a shape on a lot. I don't like having to add to it in case it ends up looking weird, but I think it helped. I think the balance of the build still looked good even with the additional room off on the side of the upstairs part. I really love the mint green that is used upstairs, and I was able to use the shingles from Enchanted by Nature, and I think that they look really nice paired with the different horse ranch walls that I used in the rest of the builds. I really love horse ranch for a lot of the items that came in the build by, and so it was nice to be able to revisit this world after a little bit of time and explore it with some of the different packs that I have now. And if you are looking into getting any sort of new packs for your own game, please remember to use someone's creator code. Mine is CrackedKyber if you would like to support me using my code. And once again, I just really love the way the life and death stuff looks paired with any other pack in the game. I used the columns and the fences for the porch, and I feel like it looks so nice with everything else. And I'm like, I really am just using the same sort of items that I've used in a lot of my builds recently. The same with these jungle adventure windows that I put at the top of the build. They just look really pretty on accent pieces of a build. The windows really just don't function very well inside because the windows are so high up, but it looks so nice to not put it in. And I also used just some regular base game windows around the build too for where I wanted actual functional lighting to be. But I did end up mixing it in with some snowy escape windows because I wanted to put the horse ranch shutters on those ones because I really love the horse ranch shutters that you can like put on any window that you want. And if you have tool mod, you can always go in there and make them look a little bit crooked like they're falling off. I didn't do it in this build, but I really love the look of that too. I'll be doing that trick a lot in the next couple of months as October slowly approaches. I'm so excited to do fall builds and Halloween builds. I really want to upload a little bit more in October this year and maybe like make a lot more Halloween builds, but I like because I want to do that, I'm trying to hold off as much as possible on starting Halloween builds right away because I always get the itch in August to build something for Halloween. And then by the end of September, I'm kind of like bored of doing the builds. So I am once again, I'm waiting and I mean, I still have my Haunted Copperdale saved to work on in the meantime. It just takes a lot longer because it doesn't flow as naturally for me. And I want more details on the interior, and it's a lot more scrolling around because it's not a style that I know where everything is right away. Like, this build didn't take me very long to make it all because I was really just using my favorite objects just in different swatches. So like usually I use a lot of these items in a darker wooden swatch, but I used it in the lighter swatches for pretty much everything, including the weathered wood walls. I usually use the dark wood of that, but I'm using the very light one. The same with the Jungle Adventure stuff. Even the roof trimming is the Enchanted by Nature one, which I use all the time, but I'm using it in the light color. But I did like the way that the roof looks, contrasting everything else. Because I was looking through like lighter swatches. I was like, no, I think this build really needs a dark roof swatch, which I think was also Enchanted by Nature. It is one of my new favorite roofings. Like my old favorite was the one from Horse Ranch that was kind of weathered, but I really love the texture on this one. It's really interesting and it's a little wonky in places, which I really like, and it comes in some really nice swatches. So that's been my go-to. And I have the holes in the roof that was that Life and Death the holes came in? Yeah, I think so. It just looks so cute. And so I have a couple of holes around the place and I have a cute sunroom in the back, which ends up being the dining room, which I think is really pretty. It has very like warm color palette, and it also reminds me of autumn. And I really like how it turned out. And I'm using the like screened in porch kind of looking windows that came in some greenhouse kit. I forgot the name of it. By the way, if you download this build off the gallery, the pathway will probably be slightly different because when I like saved and quit and I came back, the terrain paint was deleted, which happens sometimes. Still don't know why it happens, but thankfully it was just a pathway, so I easily was able to fix it. So that might just be slightly different. I also decided to put a place for a horse in the backyard, so I moved the fire pit along the path somewhere else so that I could have a horse because the guy who lives here, I think his name is Don, and he has a horse. And so when I was doing like my pictures for this, I was like, you know what, I should probably have a place for a horse since this is horse ranch. So let me do that. And I like loved seeing this guy again because I remember he was best friends with one of my Sims for Rags to Riches that I was doing like years ago when I was streaming, and I was like, wow, that's Jumble's best friend. I literally love him. But I decided to give his horse a spot to at least sleep and eat in the backyard because I felt like it made some sense. There are some areas for gardening along the pathway too. There's not too many. This is a 20 by 20 lot, but there is some areas to plant because I wanted this to be a farmhouse. I wanted it to have some areas to garden and then have like an animal towards the back. And so I'm glad that everything was able to fit. But now you can see that this was where I was trying to make this a 2-bedroom home. And I was like, no, I gave up on that. And so I had just this sort of loft space as the bedroom. I didn't play test it yet, so maybe there might be some adjustments later, but I think your sim can walk through that like bed area. I do change this and I make this a bedroom and I do add another bedroom off to the side. That's how I end up having two bedrooms in this build. I don't know why I was trying to see if I could fit two in this very tiny space up here, but it does end up working out. I don't see an issue with the bed being placed there because your Sims need half a tile to walk. So I believe that the Sims can walk to the other side of the bed. If not, I'll just have to push it to make it so that only one Sim can use the bed and push the bed against the wall. Or like you'll have to have your Sim go into one side and have your other Sim go into one. And then if they want to wake up, they got to wait for the other Sim to wake up. That'll probably be the solution if this actually isn't functional. But I really love the color palette in this build, and I love the cute sheep on the comforter upstairs. I rarely use this bed, and so I'd never really looked through the swatches, and it was so cute, so I had to make sure I used that one. I skipped over me placing some of the light fixtures around because I just clicked on each one and I manually changed each light to fit the room a little bit better and make it just a bit dimmer with like a slight yellow hue. I do not like the most yellow, but the soft yellow, and then I like lower it down to maybe like 70%, something like that. And the whole inside is pretty simple. I didn't do like way too much, but I wanted it to feel realistic and lived in, so that's what I was going for. Like for this build, I made sure that I had like light switches in every single room. I had like a couple of the burglar alarms that I sized down because they were like so large and they look really good if you just size them down a couple like bits, which I don't know why I haven't done yet in my other builds and stuff. But yeah, this is the extra room. I felt like it worked good enough because I feel like the chimney was already creating balance on that side, so adding the room behind it really didn't throw it off much anyway. And now I'm just making this room closed off so that your Sims don't walk into someone's bedroom to get to the other bedroom. And now there is a tiny hallway that acts as like a storage area. End up putting like a shoe rack and a stool over there too. So it's kind of like there's not a lot of space to store things in the bedroom. So there's an extra spot in the hallway, which is kind of like a closet, I guess. You walk into a closet loft space to get to the other bedrooms. And the second bedroom isn't very big either, but it has everything you need. I believe I fit a tiny dresser in the other bedroom, and I put a lot of fans around this build too, because I did want it to feel realistic. And so I realized that we got like a new stand-up fan. I think was it in the garage kit that came out? I really can't remember some of the new items, but we did get a stand-up fan, which I think is really cute, and I feel like added a really nice detail to a lot of the rooms. I did use another like wall fan, which I have no idea what pack it's from. It's like a metal fan. You'll see it after. So that's on the wall in some rooms, and then in the bedrooms and in the living room, I have the stand-up fan, which I think looks really nice. And I really love this living room a lot. I like the color palette in here, like light blues and light yellows. I think it looks really pretty. And I like how these curtains look that are like kind of sheer. And it took me forever to find the piece that goes between them because those curtains came with something that like makes it look like you can like pull the curtains through like the whole thing. And for some reason I couldn't find it, but then I sorted it for like the kit that it came with, and I was like, okay, thank God. Because then I was just trying to put a shelf there because I was like, I don't feel like looking for this item. And I was like, Megan, you can search by kits. You're just being lazy now. And I was being lazy. So I did end up just searching for it. And it was very easy to find at that point. I don't often use those curtains, but I was thinking about like when I was growing up, we had like sheer lacy curtains that were very old. And so this was giving me that sort of vibe in my head, even though this looks like pretty modern. To me, I was imagining that it was that sort of curtain in this build, and I was trying to put it like behind the couch too, but I didn't want to like make the couch stick out way too much, so I just left the curtains that I picked out from Enchanted by Nature over there. And now I'm thinking about how badly I want a kit that's like just outdated stuff, and it would have just things like that I had growing up where it's just like, and maybe they'd have swatches of certain things that are ripped and then some that's pristine and then some where the curtains are obviously very dingy over time, and I don't know what kind of style this would be besides an outdated kit, but that would be basic. It would be kind of like the basement treasures kit, which I don't know if a lot of people liked. I love, that's one of my favorite kits, but I don't know if they do something like that again. It could maybe happen though, because people really love nostalgia stuff on like TikTok and stuff like that. So maybe one day we'll get another like kit that is full of a lot of items like that. That would be really cool. But now for this build, I am picking out some rugs to put around the place in the bathroom. And I really love that floral rug that I put into the dining room. And it looks really nice with the cats and dogs rug that I love. That's one of my favorite rugs to use. I always love decorating interiors of builds like this, very like rustic and realistic, and really just like not going overboard with too many decorations. The kitchen also turns out really cute. It looks kind of similar to a lot of my kitchens that use the cottage living like white wood counters and cabinets and stuff, but I put in some of the items from the new kitchen clutter kit, which is really nice. I really do like clutter kits. I know that some people don't like kits, but I really think that the ones that are themed for specific rooms are really worth it. I really like the everyday clutter kit because it's just like an easy go-to thing to put down everywhere, and having them themed for each room just helps to furnish a room a lot quicker than having to like scroll through a bunch of stuff. But I really love this new kit. I use a sort of like rolling cart as a pretend island with some cute baking clutter in the like center of it. I was trying to see if a normal counter would fit in there, but it was a little bit too big, and I was like, there's no way that I could get away with putting this giant island in the middle. But the rolling cart gives it the look that I want it to. It's not functional, but really doesn't have to be functional at all. And I just put some of the clutter around. You can see I sort it by the kit. It makes it so easy just to quickly decorate. I put like a little grocery bag at the back door, kind of like maybe they picked up some fresh food from a farmer's market, and that's where they like enter the house is off to the side over there, and they didn't like unload everything yet. I realized that one thing I could have added in was one of those phones that we got, which I think all the phones that we have might be from like the reward events, but there is one that goes on the wall, and I think that would have worked really well in this house. I can still add it in for it just being on the gallery, I guess, because I still need to play test it before I upload it, because I really don't know if some of this is functional. I'll have to double check everything. And I really liked the idea of having these flower boxes on the windows in here, and I was trying to like play around and see if I could connect it to a dining room table, but it just wasn't working. So I just got a round table, and I was trying to do 4 chairs in here, but it made it feel very cramped. And so I do take away one of the chairs and I just make it 3 chairs pushed off closer to the flower boxes, because I didn't know if your Sims could get through well enough. And even if they did, I thought it would just look kind of ugly to have that many chairs in this very small space. And so 3 is just reasonable. Really, you can only have 3 Sims living on this lot anyway because it is so small. And now I'm going around and I'm adding some of these light switches around each of the rooms just to give it a more realistic touch. I do put some sort of wall decals around, like these wall holes in some places, just to make it feel a little bit more run down. Sometimes I go overboard with it and I put so many, but this one I didn't put them on every single wall covering everything. I just put them in some areas to get my point across. and now I'm just putting some wall decorations around just to fill in the space a little bit. I was mostly just picking out stuff that I thought would fit a farmhouse or felt like it was vintage, stuff that you would maybe see in like a thrift store, that sort of idea for the rooms. And I didn't put too many everywhere, just in some spaces I felt like could use a couple of things on the walls, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time going through everything. And I wanted something on this wall over here, but the one I picked out felt a bit too modern for this build, so I went back through and I wanted to find something else to put here, so I used this other one that looks a little bit more rustic and made more sense for the space because the other one did feel very modern, which I didn't want for this build. I'm using the same curtains as before, but I sized them down just a little bit so that it wasn't cutting into the flower boxes. And it looks so pretty in here. I really love this dining room a lot. It feels like the perfect cozy place to like have coffee in the morning. And now I'm just adding some more decorations to the kitchen because I realized that I didn't have a lot going on in here. So I just threw in some stuff, some more things in the dining room as I scroll through the catalog and I see anything that might make sense for this because the dining room kind of acts as a storage room too, where they have like the food bags they drop off. There's like the boxes of fresh fruit, I guess, that could be in the back corner, as well as just like blankets that maybe they bring outside. And this was the fan I was talking about before. It was really cute. And so I added it to a lot of the rooms, which made sense to me because if you're living in a house that doesn't have central air, you're going to have a fan in every single room because my house doesn't have central air and we have just so many fans everywhere to like not be so hot in New York summers. We just had some really hot days here, but now today it was so cool. When I was outside looking at my garden and like harvesting some tomatoes, it was below 70 degrees, which I feel like I haven't felt in months, and it was so nice and refreshing. And it's not going to be super hot this week. I'm like really excited for summer to be going away. I appreciated summer this year because I have my garden and stuff, and it's always nice to be able to grow things. But I've been so tired of how hot it's been. So it's nice to know that it is going to be cooling down, especially in like a month. It should finally be really cool. Also, my garden this year, it was going really well, but it's like so humid here too that just like mildew just became a huge problem. And so all my cucumber plants are practically dead now. I have one cucumber that's still growing, and once that is grown, I'm just like ripping up the rest of the plants because it's just not worth trying to save. It's been a rough summer, but I'm just happy that fall is going to be here in like a month and a half. But I kind of talked over the rest of the decorating. I really was just putting in some more things to fill up the space so it didn't seem too empty. Wall pieces of wall art here and there, some more rugs and shelves around the place. I was also able to fit in some more stuff in this tiny bedroom, which is always nice. I squeezed in like a magazine rack between this dresser and the side table, and I got in my favorite jungle adventure stool, which for some reason it took me so long to find. And I don't know why occasionally it just like won't show up where I think it's supposed to be. And then I have to go and find it sorting through the pack. And then I search stool again because that's how I try to find it the first time. And then it finally came up. So I don't know what the problem was. But it encouraged me to put in a horse ranch stool in the hallway area anyway. Now I'm just putting in the alarms and stuff, and I'll show the build off to you now. I decided once again to just show my playtesting, and I'll add in the phone that I was talking about too, but I'm pretty sure everything is functional. I haven't actually seen this turned on, so I want to do this too. Wow. That's really cool. I love how it's like kind of rusty and old too. That's my favorite thing. This house, I feel like this couch is really, really nice for his dirty pants, but it's his house now, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Now, what am I worried about not functioning? I guess this chair. Yeah, this should all be fine. I'm like assuming the kitchen is completely okay too, but I'll have him make a cake. The only thing I'm really worried about is the upstairs bedroom not working, and I'm assuming the horse is fine with the stuff back here. I don't think that's an issue either. Okay, so I think the kitchen should be all okay too. There's like no way that any of this is in the way at all. It looks really cute in gameplay though. Now you could see it without G-Shade on, which is also another reason why I like doing this. And I kind of want to do this in a lot of my videos when I can, because I don't know. It's just a nice way to end a video, I think. But yeah, the kitchen works. No issues with that. You could just keep that there. Yeah, this stuff should all be okay. Yeah. And can you use these? I'm like, this I don't really care about. Stuff like this that's more like decorative, it doesn't matter to me as much if it's functional or not. Okay, so this is the scary part, is coming into this room. I think it should be okay. I feel like that's... Oh no, okay, it's not okay. That was so loud. Let me see. Let's try. I can always... Like, I really like the look of the frame of the bed, but I might just have to push the entire bed into the wall instead. Yeah. See, I really liked the frame of the bed, but sometimes it just doesn't work. But this is still okay. I mostly picked this for the bedspread anyway, and I think it's so cute with the sheep, and I really like the death flower rug under it. And let's see. This should be okay as well, but I'll just have him check here too. Yeah, it's all good. Maybe I'll try this too, because who knows? It probably works fine. Yeah. Wait, this lighting is really nice for the house too. Well, maybe not the front, but it feels like a nice time of day back here. Foreman his horse is off in the distance. Yeah, this is my favorite room of the house. It is so cute. Wait, the hamburger cake looks so nice with the colors in this too. I'm gonna keep it. That's like a welcoming gift to anyone downloading it off of the gallery. But yeah, this build will be on the gallery, and I will show some of my screenshots that I took of the build as well. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot I wanted to add the phone. Is that just... Okay, it is the reward event. I really would love them to do the like nostalgia outdated kit sort of thing. I think it would be so cool, and we could actually have some of these phones in the game, because these were reward events, so you can't really get it anymore. So if they made a kit and they did that, I think one phone is enough, just like in the kitchen makes sense. Because well, we have this phone, but this is like a smartphone. And I would rather, like, I don't use that if I'm like trying to make it seem like it's not taking place in like modern current day. I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you the screenshots. And these screenshots were taken before I just made those changes, so if anything looks like it did before, that's why. But yeah, just pictures of each room from different angles. Luckily, that doorway worked because I was worried the wreath might make it not functional. So I'm glad he walked right through it, because I wasn't actually paying attention and I kind of forgot about that to begin with. Just some pictures of the floor plan so you can see where everything is from this view. But once again, thank you so much for watching, especially if you've made it this far into the video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all soon, probably next week, hopefully with my Copperdale build if it is finished. But again, I'm not rushing it, so we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much. Bye.